on, guys? Hey, it's Anthony with the Wrenched Out Garage. Thank you for tuning in, and if this is your first time stopping by the Wrenched Out Garage, make sure consider subscribing. The link's down below, and if you guys don't want to miss out on a video, make sure hit that bell as well. If you like it, give it a thumbs up and share. Today we're diving into fitting the hood on the Camaro, and we're also going to talk about parts in general, something that you guys need to think about when you're ordering and receiving parts. Now first, we've got the Magg Performance Iroc Z Hood. This thing is a beautiful addition to the Camaro. Now it hasn't been painted yet due to weather conditions, but before we got this thing on, I did shoot a video. It didn't come out right. I might throw some clips in, so you may see a completely different sequence in this video. I'm not sure yet, but let's dive into the hood itself. So whenever you order parts, regardless of if it's a hood, if it's for your Camaro, if it's for anything, make sure that you do a visual inspection. When I received this hood, I was super anxious, super excited, but I did pop the box open, looked at both the top and the bottom prior to planning my install. Now I've done that with every part that you've seen on this video. I just want to verify that there's no large damage or even small damage to the product, so when I go to put it on, I'm faced with having to uninstall or alter what I'm doing. It also gives you the opportunity to make contact with the vendor or supplier. So if the need to return the product is there, you do it up front way before you do an install on it, which is super important. So on this product, I did pop the box open, looked at the underside, looked at the top, looked at the whole thing to verify that everything was good to go. In addition to that, this does not include any hardware. It's just the hood. It has everything that you need built right onto it, which includes the studs for your hinges. It also has the strut support mount. So if you are ordering this hood, it comes with everything you need. That's another thing that you really need that you really need to do when you're ordering parts of any kind. If there's supposed to be supplied hardware, make sure it's all there prior to taking something apart. In some cases, I have been shorted hardware, and it was easy enough to run to the store with a sample or knowing what I needed so I could get those replaced. But let's dive into putting this hood and making the adjustments. Now, on the 6th Gen Camaro, there is some important things you need to know when you're going to replace the hood. First, these struts right here are the main support to hold the hood up, period. The hinges on the back are more or less for alignment. They do a little bit of support, but nothing like these struts do. To take these struts off, it's super simple. There's a clip right up here that's metal. All you'll do is get your little tool, pop it back. But make sure that you have someone helping you if possible, because as soon as you start popping this off, your hood's gonna wanna drop, and then you could damage either your current hood or if you've got a new hood as well. So make sure, get someone to help you with that. These hoods aren't super heavy, but they are gonna be awkward to install if you're doing it by yourself. Now, once you get this figured out, as far as the struts go, you have the 2 bolts here on the hinge. Now, with those hinges, this is super important after you get everything placed. You don't want to just throw the hood on and then close it down, because if you do that, one of the most important things, let me close it here. So right here on this edge, if you're too far off balance, when you go to close this, if it isn't aligned properly, you could damage your fenders, you could damage the hood, and that's something that you're not gonna wanna do. So what I suggest is, once you get the old hood off, again, it's super simple. You got 2 bolts on each side and struts. Make sure you got someone holding the hood up, and you're gonna wanna hold the hood away from the car as much as possible, simply so nothing moves or slams into your car, because once you unbolt it and these struts come off, and these struts aren't, don't think that if you unbolt it, the struts are gonna hold it straight. They will move around. That's why it's on a pivot ball, and that's why you have the hinges. So what you'll wanna do is have someone on the other side holding it, unbolt it, take the old hood off, unhook the struts, all of that stuff, take the old hood off. Once you get it back on, you're gonna do that in reverse. You're gonna ultimately just you're gonna get the new bolts through the hinges, pop these onto the pivots so you've got some support, a little bit of help with it, and then ultimately what you're gonna do is you're gonna pretty much play around with the fitment, because the left side versus the right side on this is where you're gonna start making adjustments. You have your strut and your hinge on this side, your strut and your hinge on this side, and each one of those bolts depending on how you decide to tighten them and how you're holding the hood, and that's really the easiest way to do it, is get them not super tight, but almost, I guess almost tight, and then slowly move the hood and twist it back and forth, because that's going to create the gap between the fender, the front fascia, and the hood. It's absolutely critical. More than likely, you're not going to get this your first or even second time around. It took me a little while to do that, simply because A, I was by myself doing the install, which I don't suggest. However, when you are doing that, just take your time and fit it back and forth. You will get the proper fit, obviously, if the part is built correctly. Now, if there is an issue with the hood itself at that point, that's when you'll want to contact the distributor. Most guys that sell hoods or any parts, especially with something like this to where you're not altering the part at all, you're not drilling through it, you're not doing anything of that nature, you'll void the warranty if you don't do this first. Don't just grab the hood, throw it in your truck, or throw it on and then drive to the local paint booth, get it painted, and then the painter's calling you, telling you, hey, we tried to spray it, we got half of it sprayed, and it doesn't fit correctly, or any of that stuff. You want to do that at home or at your buddy's garage or wherever you're doing that at prior to paint. It's absolutely critical that A, you do your inspection, B, once you do your fitment, you get it as tight as you can. It doesn't have to be 100% perfect, because it is going to get taken off, or however your painter does it. More than likely it'll get taken back off, but you want to make sure that the gapping on each side all the way around is as close to perfect as possible. Obviously, it's going to be slightly different than OEM. Most of them will be, because this is an aftermarket part. That's some stuff to think about. Now, I know I ran through a lot of things in this video. Overall, the Magg Performance Iroc Z Hood looks perfect on this car. It obviously will get fully cleaned up and then painted once the time arises. Right now, it's not that time because winter has fully set in here in Alaska, but you guys will be seeing it as soon as I get it painted. It does fit very well. Again, it took me a little bit of time of moving those bolts on each side ever so slightly, doing the top on this one, doing the bottom on this one, turning it a little bit, doing the bottom on this one, turning it a little bit, because ultimately you're kind of framing it in to the fenders and above the motor, which is absolutely critical, again, to doing that. And of course, take your time. I can't stress that enough, guys. With this part or any other part, it's your car, you're building this thing up, you're living that garage life and just loving it, but you don't want to damage your car or the products that you have. That pretty much wraps up this video. A quick guide on how to do a hood install on your Camaro, but really you can apply that to any vehicle that you guys have. I thank you guys for tuning in, and if you guys haven't checked out our Instagram and Facebook page, make sure to do that. The links to those are down below as well, along with the Magg Performance hood. If you guys have any questions about this product or about our install, make sure to drop a comment as well. We do appreciate it, and we will respond to you if you drop a comment. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Wrenched Out Garage, and if you're out driving or riding, do it safely, and we'll see you in the next video.